So are you thinking about one more time?
Am I thinking about one more time?
Yes.
I wasn't even thinking about it this time. It's like,
I understand.
It's like Ghostbusters. Don't think about.
Give me a minute, Eric. Let me freshen up a little bit. Let me just blow the whistle.
Microphone back and forth. Ready in 5, 4, 3.
Greetings and welcome tonight from Dearborn, Michigan. We're here tonight to celebrate a awesome achievement, and that's the awesome presidential campaign for Dr. Jill Stein and her running mate, Dr. Butch Ware. We're so happy to host them tonight in Dearborn and just celebrate all the hard work and sacrifice that the campaign has went through and the highlighting of our issues. So for those who don't know, my name is Clyde Shabazz. I am the program host for In the Green TV, the public affairs program for the Michigan Green Party, where you can reach us at migreens.org. And tonight and exclusively for the next 10 or 15 minutes or so, I have Dr. Jill Stein, all of myself, and we're going to ask some very, very pointed questions and some fun questions about the closing days of this campaign and what it's been like, the ups and downs, and the future for the party. So without further ado, welcome, Dr. Stein.
Thanks so much, Clyde.
Thank
Always
you.
Great to be with you.
Oh, thank you. So let's get this started. What are 3 things that you would say that your campaign accomplished?
Oh, man. We live to fight another day, and we come out stronger than ever. And we have withstood the slings and arrows of the anti-democratic party, which has been dedicated to silencing choices for the American people in this race. So, to be succinct here, we withstood the army of lawyers that tried to keep us off the ballot. We have succeeded in providing a choice for about 95% of voters, which is absolutely astounding. We've won most of the cases. One we lost in Nevada, which is an outrageous loss. It shouldn't have been a loss. We got 3 times the number of signers demanding that we be on the ballot, and the Democratic Board of Elections gave us the wrong form for the signatures. We had used the proper form, and they said, no, that one's obsolete, use this one, which was the wrong form. And even so, the Court of Appeals and then the Supreme Court for Nevada said, oh, well, can't hold them responsible, too bad, haha. You're going to be off the ballot. So that was a loss, but most of the cases we have won, and that is a huge achievement. Which one is most important? I mean, I could rattle off a number of things. We won public funding, public financing in the primary, which is terrific, which boosted our numbers. Above all, I think we have given people an anti-genocide choice at a time when the American voters are tearing their hair out at this genocide that is on our computer screens, on our cell phones every day, where we're watching children be put into the meat grinder, and it's hard to live with this without fighting it, and to think that the American people were being force-fed to pro-genocide, pro-war candidates with no even debate or dialogue about this war that the American people oppose by huge numbers, 68% according to a Reuters poll. 61% want an immediate weapons embargo. So we've been able to, I think, help force the issue and make it relevant and give the American people a choice and a hope for the future. And I think probably that is the biggest achievement of the campaign, is that there are so many more supporters now, major constituencies who now identify the Green Party as the vehicle for everyday people, for people-powered politics, the alternative to the politics of war and Wall Street, bought and paid for by war contractors, by AIPAC, by Big Pharma, etc. I think we have restored hope and competition into the political system. We are growing the Green Party. We're seeing many new chapters. We're seeing many people define themselves as green, and the campaign took on a life of its own. So it's not something we could even begin to manage ourselves. So much of the social media, even the publicity, the billboards that have been undertaken by independent organizations. It's just phenomenal what's happening. It really is what democracy should look like, and what the American people are actually very desperate to get back on track.
Thank you for that. That's a great comment. What are 3 things, Dr. Stein, that you think the Green Party can do to build on this election cycle?
So we're going to be starting that conversation tomorrow.
Okay.
But, offhand, we need to run candidates. We need to hit the ground running coming out of this election. And this has been kind of chatter that's been going on throughout the volunteers and the staff and all the activists. Really can't wait to roll over the momentum into the fight for local races, whether it's school board, whether it is city councils who can pass resolutions for a ceasefire, who could pass divestment resolutions like in Portland, Maine, where there is a Green member of the city council that is supporting that kind of thing, or passing resolutions for healthcare as a human right and so on. So elections, we can be out there with our partners, the partners that have developed in the course of this election, with the Muslim American community, with students, with African Americans, and so on, be out there, especially fighting the genocide. To me, it feels like the major, emotional core of the campaign is around the genocide, and that obviously doesn't end tomorrow. The genocide is ongoing, and it's so critical that we roll over the momentum for the election then into the ongoing fight to stop the genocide. And I think that connects up with number 1 as well, that is needing to run local races. Many avenues for protesting the genocide are very difficult now, and people are getting their heads bashed in. It's very hard for students to stand up and protest without getting thrown out. So it's really important that we take that momentum of protest and we continue it in the political universe. And third, where do we not have a crisis? Healthcare, housing, the climate.
The environment, yes.
It's just crisis after crisis. So I guess I would answer that generally saying that we need to be front and center in leading the charge on the key issues in our communities. So in some places it may be housing. In some places it may be wages and the effort of workers to establish unions. Just I'd say broadly, we need to be engaged in whatever the issues in our communities are, so that we're building support in the social movements, which is essential if you're going to build support in the political sphere and to be running candidates.
Great comment. And I'd like to piggyback on something you said. And I remember when I questioned you, I think it was maybe a week ago, a month ago, we were at the Cultural Center in Dearborn. Mm-hmm. And I followed up and I asked specifically, which I think are going to be 2 big issues in the future, Dr. Stein, and that's the UBI and the cash reparations. Mm-hmm. So like we know the working classes on the Democratic and Republican side, and we have a lot of those here in Michigan, being a blue-collar working-class state. And my own campaign that I ran for Congress this year, and some of the others, we all ran on the UBI issue, and where we stated, based on our formula here in Michigan, that if you made $75,000 a year less working full-time, mm-hmm. that you would get an additional $1,000 a month in UBI check or stimulus check from the Greens. And that was a winning issue, and we would just informally poll people on the Democratic and Republican side, and we went into working class communities like Taylor, Michigan, downriver, which is big in the like the automobile plant life, mm-hmm. and they overwhelmingly agreed with that. Also, we talked to the African American community around lineage-based reparations, mm-hmm. where Some wanted to see like a Freedmen's Bank and that sort of thing. And I think I've watched a couple of shows with people like activist Yvette Carnell. She may have, I don't know if you may have spoken to her in the past about reparations. Or have you had, or was that Sabby Sabs may have had
sure.
that? Okay.
Yeah, probably
But
Sabby.
anyway, that's a big issue. And I know there's a divide with some in the older generations of wanting a study commission, but there's an impatience around the younger generation that's saying, hey, we just need checks now to be cut. And I'm in my 60s at Dr. Stein, and I'm inclined to kind of agree with the younger generations because, for example, in my proposal, I was stating that a $1,500 a month reparations check off of what we were talking about, the sin tax of charging corporations $100 and individuals $25 on the New York Stock Exchange to raise the revenue to pay for cash reparations, as well as you could do the same strategy for UBI on maybe like the NASDAQ because of the Wall Street bailouts where Obama and his gang didn't bail out the folks. And during your interview, I remember you stating you like things that provide both revenue and tax justice. I think when I interviewed you, the word revenue was in your mind, but I don't think you're like me because we're trying to get out the words. But things that create both tax revenue to pay for the programs and create a tax justice, those type of things.
Yes.
That I think are winning formulas for the party in the future. And I'm sure the MI Greens will be, putting together some proposals with the National Party and that sort of thing.
Yes.
So
Wonderful.
that's something that we think
Wonderful.
is a winning issue. Would you like to comment on that, or would you concur, or?
Oh,
do you think?
yes, absolutely, and on both counts. I think we have long advocated for tax justice and tax fairness in and of its own right, and that includes not only a wealth tax, which there is need, because right now, we have such glaring economic disparities. The billionaires have doubled their wealth while children have tripled their poverty rates. What's wrong with this picture? And economic disparities are growing. They're not diminishing. So we need to correct those disparities. There's justification for wealth tax. There's also justification for a Wall Street transaction tax. That's been a long-standing, important measure. So I think we have so much economic disparity right now and tax disparity. There's a lot of room for tax justice. At the same time, there's a lot of room for reparations, and I'd say there's great need for reparations right now. In Massachusetts, for example, where I'm familiar with recent statistics, the average family wealth for an African American family, this is actually the Boston metropolitan area, average wealth for, let's start with the Caucasian family, is $250,000, $250,000, while the average wealth for an African American family is $8.
Yeah.
And absolutely jaw-dropping, staggering. So there's an immediate need here to fix both of these problems, and they go together. And I agree with you, we should have what the community wants, and what the community overwhelmingly wants, by all indications, are basically cash reparations now. And let me also add that we can cut the military budget, which is not making us safer, it's making us more endangered and impoverished. So by cutting the military budget, we can also unleash at least $500 billion a year to put towards other things that we need critically.
Thank you, Dr. Stein. We're closing out. What is just one more thing, real 30 seconds. I know we got to go. Would you like to give our Michigan Greens some hope for something that we can build with in the future for going into 26 and 28? And thank you.
We need to be out there running local candidates. Michigan especially, let me say, Michigan is a stronghold now, and Michigan has incredible, potential to lead the way, to be the first state where we're electing not only Greens to at the state level, to the state legislature, but also in Congress. It would really be great to see Michigan leading the charge, and I am very invested in this and would love to help, and to help Michigan lead the charge and to come here and help, rev up the troops and cheerlead for the really fabulous work that the Michigan Green Party is doing. So it's a tribute very much to the leadership sitting next to me, for example. So keep up the great work, Michigan. We're behind you all the way.
Thank you, Dr. Stein. We appreciate you and enjoy you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much.